Welcome back to me. I've been gone for what? 10 days, I think it was. 10 days since my last show. I released a special, just the old, from the original Trent Takes On, the old How the Grinch Stole Christmas thing. Some people appreciate it. Some people don't care for it. But you don't have to listen to that one if you don't want to. It's a throwback. Anyway, I do want to come back briefly today to let you guys know I'm back from vacation and back watching the news and back involved. And I guess before I get into that, I gotta talk about what happened while I was away. To me, not to the world. Anyway, let's talk. Trent Takes On 2.0 is here, and I'm Trent, and that's me doing the... Anyway, you guys know where you are. You found me. Welcome. I had planned on doing a little bit more during the break than I ended up doing, but I got shanghaied by my family. The wife and kids really wanted to monopolize my time, and that's fine. In fact, that's why we do most of the things that we do. And you come to some pretty pretty interesting conclusions the more time you spend really focused on your family. And those conclusions are, this is what life's really like. This is what life's really about. It's why families exist. It's why we do the things that we do. It's why we participate in this society, so that we can have a family, and we can choose our associates, our friends, and we can spend time with them and have our own, small community within a community. And then it all branches out from there. But it turns out I'm not as much fun when I'm knee deep in news, hip deep in news, neck deep in news. Let's be honest. I'm not as much fun when I'm ranting and angry about the fascist takeover of our nation. I don't care for it, so it makes me less fun. And that's understandable, I think. I don't know that I can be fun when I'm trying to not only be an observer to this moment in our history, which is the most important moment in our nation's history since our Civil War over 160 years ago. Technology is tearing our society apart. I don't think that there's a lot of arguing you can do about that. I think that we're losing the thread. And there's something about refinding the thread every once in a while that reminds you that you've lost the thread. And yes, I appreciate the irony of delivering, this kind of message on a digital platform that flies through the internet like magic into homes around the world. Homes, offices, cars, cell phones, whatever. That technology is tearing us apart because we're losing that thing that makes community work. Communities worked for a long time before the internet, before television, before the telephone, before the telegraph, hell's bells, before mail was delivered to people, before newspapers, before the printing press. Communities, societies have worked for ages. Because we talk to each other, we communicate with each other, we deal with each other in a face-to-face manner. You have that ability all the time. Now, there are some people who are, of course, less inclined to that kind of interaction with others, introverts, people who just feel uncomfortable with confrontation or for that matter, association with other people. That's totally understandable. People can be absolute assholes. Sure. I get you. I feel you. It can knot you up in anxiety. I understand that. But relating with others is part of the human animal. It's one of the things that we're supposed to do. A human on your own is not very resilient to the world around it. But humans together can reshape the very environment itself for the collective good or the collective bad, you know. I just found that the more time I spent hanging out with my kids, my wife, who basically refused to let me out of her sight. It was like, you're not watching news. We're doing this stuff together. And that was fine. It was good. It was fun. We should all be so fortunate as to find a partner that we can spend time around and not ever get fed up or tired or frustrated with them. You know, we should all be that lucky. I have that. And it was great. Now, there are times when you definitely want to get just a little bit of alone time. You know, it's okay. You can do that. That's good for you too. I'll walk the dog. I'll go for walks personally. I've been going for walks by myself in the morning. I stopped for the last week because it's been like raining every damn morning. And I don't like walking on treadmills. So I just said, well, you know, I'll just not do it for a while. It's okay. The sun is out today and I'm back in gear. But I'm back to this too, because I love doing this. I love time capsuling my stuff for my kids. I love talking to those who listen out there in the world, because they're good people. And you're trying to do the right things, and bless you. You're one of the reasons that others get up out of bed every morning. Did you know that? It's pretty amazing. At this point, it's in our society, in our world, there have never been a larger collection of less than good. We'll just put it that way. Less than good. Less than well-meaning people in charge of the resources, the power, the money in this world. Never been a larger collection of malevolent forces trying to enshrine their power eternally. It's the most dangerous time in modern recorded history for my book, because only bettering World War II, because the weaponry that's involved in the hands of these crazy people is so incredibly powerful that should it ever be turned loose, the future of the species is at risk. Boy, that's dark. Sorry about that. It's never been a darker day. You know, there's never been this many forces of evil trying to tear us asunder. But here's the part that I want you to hear. There's also never been a greater groundswell of human beings coming to the knowledge that good and being good and doing good is important, and standing up against atrocity and the malevolence of these actors out in our world, that is of paramount importance. And when you look and you see the protests that continue to happen all the time, even if the news isn't covering them, they're still happening. You continue to see all of these people working so hard, so diligently to use the democratic apparatus to improve our representation in these levers of power, to hold to account the people who are refusing to be held to account. There has never been a greater groundswell of public goodness in the history of this world. And you're part of that if you're part of Team Anti-Fascism, Team Anti immigration crackdown, if you're part of Team Law and Order, real Law and Order, not whatever this facade is that these morons are trying to force on us, if you're a fan of goodness, if you're a fan of kindness, if you're a fan of uplifting others, if you're a fan of helping out your fellow man, you're on Team Good. Congratulations. I applaud you. It's easy to go with the flow. It is easy to turn off the news. It is easy to lose yourself in people that love you, people that care about you, in a time of year when that means more than anything. Holidays are tough, so tough on so many people. They used to be really tough on me, but not anymore. I appreciate you, and I appreciate a lot of people, and I want to try to remember in this year 2026 to share my appreciation, my feelings of appreciation with people more often. That would be the big New Year's resolution for the old Trentster. People say that they're going to do things like lose weight. I'm having trouble with that. I just can't seem to crack the code. I'm dealing with a lot of information about how to kickstart your liver to help you out. And I've got to get on that somehow. Apparently lemon water has something to do. We'll see. I'm going to buy some lemons and keep drinking coffee. Apparently those are two good things. And cruciferous vegetables. But my big New Year's resolution is to share my feelings of appreciation with the people who I appreciate. It's the old, you tell the people that you love them, which I do. And I appreciate that most people do the same for me. I need to continue to say, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And mean it. I do mean it. But sometimes we don't say it enough. And sometimes we don't show it enough. So this is me attempting to keep hold of the thread and remind everybody that things are dark, but there has never been a larger supply, not surplus, supply of allies. You can never have too many allies. Never. Never. We're all going to work hard to right the ship. We're all going to work hard to bring to justice and light all of the misgivings of these evil bastards who have attempted to take over our country and our world. We're far from done. We're far, far, far from done. Done. Boom and done. Easy for you to say. But I wanted to start out 2026 with this message of appreciation and hope and a vision for the things that we can do moving forward. And not everything is going to be easy and not everything is going to be positive. And sometimes I worry that the desperation will force these fools into even more dangerous tactics, which it just feels inevitable most of the time. But there is light at the end of the tunnel, and no, it is not an oncoming train. We don't do trains particularly well anymore in this country. There are some places where we still try, but subways, the L in Chicago, New York subway systems, there are some trains that are still working. There's a thing called Metrolink out here in LA that's okay. We're going to try. All right. And we're going to succeed because there is no option to fail here. We have got to make this democracy stick in 2026, the 250th birthday of this nation. Think about that for a second. It's our time to give this country a birthday present. And that birthday present is to restore the power to the people, the governed, and to take it away from these fascist bastards who've decided that the will of one crazy old man is more important than the voices of the rest of us. So, we will fight back and we will win because failure is not an option. With that being said, I do want to cover very quickly the news from the weekend, the first weekend of the year. Saturday, early morning, whatever it was, the 3rd. The United States military pulled off a daring nighttime kidnapping. That's what it was, kidnapping. Capture. I think they're calling it a capture and arrest of Nicolas Maduro and his wife, who has been the president of Venezuela for the last, it's been a while. He's a dictator. He's not a good guy. Full stop. Bad guy. He's got the military on his side. He's got a whole bunch of sycophants around him on his side. Does that sound familiar to anyone? They've captured Nicolas Maduro and brought him to New York to face narco-terrorism, conspiracy to commit narco-terrorism, which, for the record, that's not a thing. Narco-terrorism has no definition. What? And then the other thing is conspiracy to traffic narcotics, which is a totally legitimate crime and a totally legitimate thing to charge someone with, especially someone who probably has something to do with this. But of course, you also have to have the evidence to prove it. That's going to be important. But more than that, these are American laws. These are United States laws that we are charging this person with. And though you can do that, that's permissible. The going into a country without an extradition order and just abducting the leadership of that country, and they killed about 40 people, according to Venezuelan sources, both civilian and military, in this raid. It was use of military force without congressional authorization against a country with whom we have no active war. These are not active combatants. This is not an enemy state. The president's, the regime is claiming that this was an FBI arrest, to which the question is, under what jurisdiction does the FBI have to enforce United States laws on Caracas, Venezuela's soil? What? None of this makes sense. It's another in a very long line of impeachable offenses. It is the third use of military force that I can think of in the last year that really can't be fit under the old military use of force authorization that they were using to fight Al-Qaeda and all terrorist groups, like the Yemen attack, which Signalgate was a part of back in whatever month that was last year, whatever month that was last decade. Yes, the last year was a long one. The Yemeni, they attacked the Houthis. See, that one I think you can probably put under the terrorism banner. And then they struck some ISIS targets they claim to be ISIS in Syria. I think that was either November or early December. Those two I think you could fit under. But the three that you can't are this one, the Venezuela one. On Christmas Day, they struck a bunch of targets in Nigeria, in Africa, for, according to the president, killing Christians, which is, yeah, what? Huh? Use of military for that is a thing that happened on Christmas Day. And then the bombing in Iran to stop their nuclear program, which was not authorized by Congress and was heavily criticized at the time. They just continue to use the military in ways that are either borderline illegal or patently illegal, just blatantly illegal. And because they did this thing where they fired all the judge advocate generals, all the JAG lawyers who interpret the legality of orders, back when Whiskey Pete took over the Department of Defense, I don't think that our military is functioning as it's supposed to right now. They are following orders that are either wildly illegal or probably illegal. And they're following them with not a whole lot of pushback. And that's problematic, to say the least. It's extremely bad. This regime has got to be reined in before they get too far out over their skis. The rest of the world is super duper unhappy with what Trump is about right now. Some other leaders applaud him for taking initiative and doing something that they want to see done. But most of them are like, okay, you still have to follow the rules because we don't want to set this precedent where this can happen anywhere. For instance, Donald Trump and his regime have committed a whole bunch of crimes. International wire fraud, a lot of crypto crime. Even this one right here, this Venezuela attack. Imagine, if you will, Donald Trump in 6 months goes on some, what do you call it? Like a G7 summit meeting or whatever. And the Venezuelan government or military secret service captures him and takes him back to Venezuela. Would that be okay? No, it would not. You see, you have to we're supposed to be following laws. And especially when arguably, almost certainly the most powerful country on earth refuses to follow those laws, we're going to go into some really dark places really fast. They've threatened a minimum of 4 other countries that I've already heard of since the Venezuela attack. They've threatened Greenland, which is an autonomous territory of Denmark and a member of NATO. So we would have, what are they going to do? Are we going to use the Arkansas National Guard to attack Denmark? I mean, Greenland? And if so, what does NATO do in response? That we should not be threatening our allies with military occupation. Who else has they threatened in recent days? Well, Colombia, that was like the first one that they threatened. Colombia, you're right next door to Venezuela, and we don't like you guys either. Plus, we just pardoned your former president who was convicted of conspiracy to traffic narcotics. That sounds familiar. He was pardoned of that by Donald Trump, who claimed that that was a witch hunt led by Biden against a good guy? No, that's just false. So the very thing that he just pardoned the former right-wing president of Colombia for Or was it Honduras? Honduras? I don't remember. You know what? He's pardoning so many people. Just pay him for a pardon and you'll get one. The very thing that he pardoned this other cat for, they're charging Maduro with. Interesting, huh? Well, look, he's threatened Colombia. They're threatening Cuba. They're threatening Greenland. They're threatening Mexico. Oh, Lord Almighty. So, I don't know. We'll see how all this pans out. At the end of the day, they removed Maduro. But all of the same military, all of the same police, all the same corrupt mechanism is still there. And they're still in charge of that country. The vice president was sworn in and is now acting as president, and she was picked by Maduro. I would like to point out that the opposition leader to Maduro is a lady who actually won the election that Maduro just refused to leave power over. That sounds familiar too, doesn't it? Anyway, Maduro lost. He refused to leave. The only difference was the military had his back. So she's been in exile, and she's the one who won the Nobel Peace Prize this last year, over the guy who has bombed at least 5 other countries in the last year. Yeah, and threatened countless others. This thing is going to evolve pretty quickly. And the regime change that they claim that they wanted doesn't happen just by getting Maduro. The regime that was in charge is still there. It's not just Maduro. It's a whole bunch of people. Just like what's going on in Washington, D.C. right now. It's not just Donald Trump. It's a whole bunch of people who are working together to break laws and be corrupt and abuse their power. Yeah. Just Donald Trump being out of the way. The rest of them will still be in charge. It'll still be abusive and corrupt and gross. So, yeah, we got to vote these guys out and convince enough people that the right thing to do is to take this power back for ourselves. Put our people in charge. People who actually care about us. And look, man, there's 350 million people in this country. And our voices matter. We have to remind them of that. And that means protests, that means boycotts, that means doing whatever we can to let them know that we are displeased, that our economy is in the toilet, that now we are going to be either fighting a war in Venezuela or propping them up. They don't have a plan here. And this should sound awfully familiar because we've run this exact same playbook before. And the difference with Manuel Noriega is, I mean, we had him dead to rights on some stuff, and there was actually an extradition treaty in place there. And they did break some laws on American territory. Yeah. And then there was this Saddam Hussein guy, and that didn't go great either. There was no plan behind this. This was willy-nilly. This was what they wanted to do. They didn't really have a plan for what to come afterwards, but they knew they could grab Maduro, which is great. That was the easy part. That was the part that our military is really super, super good at. Running quick hit missions. Bang, bang, we're out. Good. Now what? Now what? They said, you're going to do what we want you to do to Venezuela. And Venezuela's like, no. We're not going to give you our oil. In the press conference afterwards, Donald Trump didn't use the word democracy once. He did use elections a couple of times. And he didn't use the word fentanyl once, which was supposedly the bullshit reason they were using for blowing up drug boats and regime change. But he did mention the word oil 25 times. The regime is not good at anything. It really isn't. And one of the things that they're really bad at is hiding the truth. They just say a lot of shit out in the open. And you should take them at their word when they do. They've been trying to, cover up or make good on Donald Trump's continually putting his own foot in his mouth, but they can't do it because none of this makes sense except what Donald Trump actually said. It was about the oil, and we want it. Whew. I don't think that's legal, my man. Just like this strike. We'll see what happens. I expect it to get ugly before it gets better. I'm going to come back and hit you again later in this week. I have a lot of stuff to do, and that includes picking up my kids early from school today because it's an early day. But thank you again for being with me on this journey. I appreciate you all so very, very much. Please, if you find anything useful in this, share this with a friend. Okay, that's how you grow things. And if you have any concerns or whatever, try reaching out to me. See if you can find me. I'm not hiding in any deep, dark spot. I appreciate you all so very much. Stay out of trouble. And more than anything, be good humans. That's the least we can do. And until next time, love to all.